Greetings, lords and ladies, Kaiser here, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play of a brand new game. Kind of, sort of. I'm a little bit late to the train here, aren't I? The game has been out for about a month so far, but unfortunately, you know, real life hit, disease hit, or rather, oh, not disease, sounds terrible. I fell ill. And here we are a month later after the game has come out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all of the content that has been coming out for the game, for CK3. And here I am, about to jump into the fold myself. Spoiler alert, or rather disclaimer, I've only played about 10 hours or so of the game just to get a little bit of a feel for it. I have seen some other people play it as well. So I do have a general idea of what I am going to be doing. Now, I'm not sure how many Let's Plays you've guys seen, but if you recognize that this is essentially Norse, that is correct. I did try playing Norse, because that is essentially the one thing, or rather, well, there were multiple things I didn't do, but that was one of the things I really wanted to do in CK2 as well. Before CK3 came out, basically we did the Irish campaign, we did the HRE campaign, we did the Slav, Holy Fury, Wendish Empire campaign. I never really got into the Viking campaign either. And yeah, that's what I was trying that out. We are going to go for a Viking campaign. We're just gonna click new game. We are definitely gonna go for the Wrath of the Northmen. 2 years ago, King Aela of Northumbria threw the great Viking hero Ragnar Lothbrok into a pit of snakes to die. Spoiler alert for anybody that has not seen the series Vikings, I guess. Upon hearing the news, Ragnar's sons set sail for England to avenge their father. Ah yes, the Great Viking March. The brothers, Heathen March, not Viking March. The brothers have since established a firm foothold in York and the Isles. The Anglo-Saxon kings have lost battle after battle. Their future looks bleak indeed. But all hope is not lost, and a hero could still turn the tide of history. Will you lay all of England under Norse rule or vanquish the great heathen army from Anglo-Saxon soil? Well, we are certainly going to go and burn England to the ground, so to speak. No animosity here, don't worry. So it actually offers us a few possible lords. Ivar the Boneless, Halfdan Whiteshirt, Earl Alfred over here of Wessex. Seems kind of... Earl Alfred, but Wessex is quite large. Oh, right, Earl, of course. Wessex is quite large at the time. I'll be completely honest, I don't really recognize anybody except for Ivar the Boneless. I have not seen the series, like the complete series Viking or anything like that, but I do know that Ivar was essentially one of Ragnar's sons, the one that was apparently like very, very frail, hence boneless. Sigurd Snake in the Eye. That one sounds familiar as well, but I can't recall why. All of these are actually easy. And Bjorn Ironside of Munster. I'm hoping that's how you read that, but that's basically Upland. We're not gonna go for that one. We are going to click right here, play as any ruler. Now, I've already decided, as you guys know me, or if you're new to the channel, basically what I usually do with CK is I love going for one county minors and trying to get as large as possible. Can I just say, I know that almost every streamer and YouTuber has already pointed this out, but I absolutely love the map. I really, really do. Like, it is... I just love the touch of, like, the map being laid out on a wooden table. A very kind of old wooden table, huh? Okay, well, at any rate, here we are going to be playing in Scandinavia. Now, Upland is the one with Jarl Bjorn Ironside that we talked about. Sieland is under the command of Snake in the Eye. And I was thinking I would go one of the one county miners up on the western side, so the Norwegian western side of Scandinavia. Let's see. Kjotvelv Auster Ag... Oh god, I don't even want to try pronouncing that letter. I have no idea what it actually is. But he's 55. I would love to play something a little bit younger. Something like this. Yeah, 27. Let's see. Diligent, Diplomacy +1, Martial +1, Stewardship +1, Intrigue +1, Learning +1. So everything +1. But he gains 20% more stress. Stress is something... I'll try and explain it as best I can during gameplay, but it is definitely something that you should be paying attention to for sure. Impatient, Learning, -2. Monthly Prestige, okay, that's interesting. Hostile Scheme Power, Opinion of patient characters, alright, and vengeful. That is something... so yeah, we are going to be the Norse, but the actual religion of the Norse right now is the Asatru. Fervor 50%. That's pretty good. The native faith of the Scandinavian region, Norse paganism, revolves around reverence of gods known as the Aesir. Adherents are expected to live, and preferably die, in an honorable fashion. Honorable in the sense of basically dying in battle, from what I understand. Of course, we are going to be tribal right now. I believe if we actually look... No, not the cultures, but... Wait, it actually doesn't show, does it? It just shows faiths, governments. There we go, yeah. Most of the map is still tribal, of course. You have clan systems as well. Tribal, clan, feudal. India is actually feudal. Interesting. I've also never done an Indian Let's Play, have I? That's definitely something to do. England, while feudal, Scotland and Ireland are so far not. But let's go back to, no, not the duchy titles, but realms, there we go. Okay, so this one seems like an interesting chap. Hirdeland? I'll act like that's what it's called. 17, let's see, arbitrary. Ugh, that's immediately a bad thing. Stewardship -2. God, I really want stewardship at the beginning, because I do know, like, if we check the duchy titles, this is a three county duchy, and I really wanna at least control one full duchy. Though this apparently is a duchy in and of itself, interestingly enough. Interesting. So either this duchy or the Western Duchy is something we are certainly aiming for. So what else does he have? Arbitrary. So yeah, the point of me saying that was that negative stewardship is definitely bad for us, because we certainly want to have at least like the basic stewardship to be able to hold 3 titles. Stewardship. Oh God, you're terrible. Automatically you get a stewardship -5. So that's not gonna be who we play. That's too old for me to play. Too old for me to play. I guess that would add a little bit more of a challenge to the game, but I prefer being somewhere in the middle as far as that goes. Stewardship +2, Intrigue. He's just interesting. Craven though. Ay. Arrogant, Prestige. What about... He's 26. Content. Also arbitrary and cynical. 37. God, this guy seems the best so far. Diligent. I mean, that's gonna hurt us a little bit. Impatient. We're certainly not gonna be a very learned character. Hostile, scheme power, monthly prestige. That's certainly gonna help us, because the Norse... Basically, it's the same as in CK2. The Norsemen recruit retinues, etc., and do a lot of other things with prestige rather than gold. Vengeful, diplomacy -2, intrigue and prowess plus dread gain. So far I've never really tried to play with dread. I mean, like I said, I only played like 10 hours of this game, but dread is not something I really tried going with. Hostile scheme success chance versus rivals +15. Alright, that's pretty good. And vengefulness, as you can see right here, is considered virtuous by Asatruans. Every faith considers certain traits to be virtuous. Characters with these traits gain opinion and bonuses from all characters who consider those traits virtuous, even if they do not share the same faith. In addition, characters who have traits that their own faith considers virtuous will gain bonus piety every month. Exactly what traits are considered to be virtues varies from faith to faith, but is typically determined by a combination of that faith's tenets and the religion the faith belongs to. So yeah, the Norse consider vengefulness a virtue, so anybody of the Asatru faith will actually have a bonus 10 to opinion of us, and we get an additional 1 point of piety per month. That's pretty good, because if I'm not mistaken, piety is what you use as a Norseman to declare conquests. Now, one of the game's rules that I'm so glad I was actually, like, it sounds terrible, but I'm glad that I was sick, because I managed to actually see some other people play and realize that, yeah, there's a certain setting, a very naughty setting, so to speak, that should certainly be turned off. Character nudity. There we go. Never Because I'm pretty sure that YouTube would not take kindly to the nudity. I mean, I already played The Witcher, and you know, I kind of have to cut out certain certain scenes in that. At any rate, right, so I think we'll go with Chieftain Heljarskin of Rogaland. Probably butchered both of those names, but that's what we're gonna go with. Level of Splendor, Obscure, Dynasty Head, we are the Dynasty Head, of course. House Head, that is us living members, only one for now. What? Wait, but I believe I saw in the game rules that it does actually randomize faiths, generate families is on. Okay, so we're not gonna, like, spawn into the game without a single, like, heir or something. Right. Let's jump right into it. Bada bing, bada boom. Let me see. Empty council position. The marshal position is empty. Oh god, we don't really have a lot of people, do we? Your chancellor, your steward, that is a very, very terrible steward, sir. Can I have you become... No, that's not what I wanted to do. Wait, oh god. Arni, get right back here. I wanted my steward to become the marshal, and... Good god, we have nobody that can actually become the steward. What? Sigrid. Oh my. Wait a minute. This is a first. Like, I've done 3 or 4 or... No, 4 or 5 beginnings, and never have I had the problem of not having enough people in our court to be able to get a steward. Strange. Well, first thing we're certainly apparently going to have to do is simply send the herald to invite some champions for us. Champions being essentially knights in the Asatru faith, or rather the Norse faith. As you can see right here, we have 3 out of 5 champions, so we certainly should get at least 2 more, because these are, oh god, 2 prowesses. That prowess is definitely not something you want to have in your as your knights. Total soldiers 318. That is certainly not good whatsoever. How do we have such poor? We should have so much more, so many more soldiers. Considering we do have Marshal 12. What is her wife like? Okay. Only 2 holdings, though, despite everything. You're probably not focusing stewardship on us right now, are you? Okay, so just to explain a couple of things, like, for instance, if we go from the beginning, let's just go from the beginning. So here we have the Chiefdom of Rogaland. Here you can actually set the tribal authority, something that we are certainly going to have to increase, because in order to become feudal, which is the plan eventually down the road, so that we can get, you know, primogeniture, etc., succession, and not partition, which we'll go through next. We will certainly need to pass the absolute tribal authority. We currently only have the Chiefdom of Rogaland under our control. We can see the tax and the levies currently available. We also have 2 additional empty holdings, but as a tribe, of course, just like in CK2, we can't really build on either of those holdings. Not until we become feudal, at least, I believe. We currently have no vassals, of course, because we're a 1-county minor, and we don't really have, like, despite the council having a godi over here, which is essentially like a chaplain, a priest, a shaman, in some religions. Basically, despite us having him, because we do not have any religious sites, any temples or anything like that, he doesn't really do much other than increase our religious relations, or he can also fabricate a claim on a county. But since we do have a +3 piety per month, we could literally just declare war, and if you do conquer county, as you can see right here, like, defender is a faith, right, but we are tribal, so yeah, we can actually attack. So essentially we would have to pay 50 faith in order to attack this dude. But he is currently he's already a Jarl, if I'm not mistaken. No, he's still a chieftain, even though he has 2 pieces of land, and that is essentially a a duchy in its own right, but I guess it's not exactly a duchy yet. Vassals and succession, there we go. Our current succession law is Confederate Partition, which, if we read right here, under Confederate Partition, your tiles will be divided equally between your children. New tiles may be created for younger realm heirs. So essentially, if we have a larger realm, if we have multiple children, the realm will be divided among those children, and new titles will be created for those children. For instance, if we check duchy tiles. If we check duchy tiles, if we, for instance, controlled 3 of these duchies here, that would not yet be enough for us to actually create the Kingdom of Norway, because the Kingdom of Norway requires us to have 15 de jure counties. We currently, of course, only have 1. And we also need 2 duchies. But if we didn't do that, if we didn't have enough land to create the kingdom, our land would essentially be divided among our children, and each child would be given the same share of land. And even if we didn't have, like, the Prindalug or Guldinslog or Egdafilki created as duchies, those titles would be created as duchies and given to our children. And our actual heir, the character that we actually play, would only get, like, 1 of those duchies. Unless we, and if we did control the entire kingdom, our heir would essentially be giving the main title, so he would still be king. However, even if he is king, the lands within the actual kingdom would still be divided among children. So this can cause a whole lot of headaches upon succession. So certainly the goal is to eventually go away from the Confederate Partition or Partition. So upon succession, all titles held by the late ruler will be divided amongst their eligible children, with the player heir always being given the primary title, realm capital, and any direct de jure tiles associated with it. Your younger children will be given titles starting with those of the same rank as the primary title. If none are available, they will be given lower ranking titles. Your player heir cannot be preemptively granted titles they do not stand to inherit. Younger children will have titles created for them if enough land is held. So, okay, this is a little bit new. I didn't read your player heir cannot be preemptively granted titles they do not stand to inherit. So essentially, they do stand, like it says here, they do stand to inherit the main title plus the duchy capital. But I've seen, like, one of the things that I've seen some players do, which is definitely one of the best ways to ensure that you do not have too bad of a border gore within your own lands, is essentially grant certain titles to your other children, the titles that you actually want them to have. Because then, upon succession, they are essentially just gonna keep those lands and not be given additional ones. Essentially, every child has to, upon your death, every child has to have the same amount of, shall we say, strength, so to speak. So if you have, for instance, 6 counties and 3 children, essentially each of those children needs 2 counties. So if I wanted to keep the capital and something else, like the capital and the... I forget what the, what is this? Gulapslug, that one. I would have to give my heir, or rather my 2 other children, like for instance, the county of Brandelog and Gulap... I thought that was the one. Oh no, that's a duchy. My bad. I'm basically reading the title of the duchy. But you understand what I mean. Partition, on the other hand, upon succession, all titles held by the late ruler will be divided among their eligible children, with the player heir always being given the primary title, realm capital, and any direct de jure titles associated with it. Younger children will be given titles starting with those of the same rank as the primary title. If none are available, they will be given lower ranking titles. Your player... So what exactly is the... All children inherit equally. All children inherit equally. I don't quite understand what is the actual... Tribal rules are locked to this succession type. Okay, so we can't even change it if we wanted to. Primogeniture, though, as it says right here, you do not have high crown authority. Norse culture does not have the primogeniture innovation. We'll talk about innovation as we go along. I do not have a feudal or clan government. We certainly have sort of a... Wait, a ruler's government form determines laws. The government forms are feudal, tribal, clan, theocracy, and republic. I do not have a feudal or clan government, but I don't, so why is this a negative? Strange. Also missing an additional 200 prestige. 500 is necessary for that. Under primogeniture succession, your oldest child inherits all your titles. Upon succession, all of the late ruler's titles will be given to the player heir, which is their oldest eligible child. The younger children will receive nothing. Okay, so we'll get to succession, I suppose, once we are, once we're there. But certainly we will want to impose, or rather pass, the absolute tribal authority eventually. So if we go to the military over here, as we can see, we have levies and then we have champions, what I've already alluded to. So the levies are essentially, as far as levies go, unlike in CK2 where you had, you know, pikemen, archers, skirmishers, heavy infantry, cavalry, etc., etc., in CK3 all levies are essentially just that. They're levies, that's it. In order to have, specialized units, you will have to create men-at-arms regiments. You're a chieftain, so we can have 3 men-at-arms regiments currently, 2 because we are a chieftain, and 1 because we have a mustering grounds. Oh, do we? Okay, well, that's a building within our capital. And if we check right here, if we wanted to create some regiments, we have 5 to choose from for now. As our innovation, or as our technology, so to speak, in CK2 terms, increases, we also increase the list of the available regiments as well. Light footmen, each unit has essentially 4 values. The values are damage, toughness, pursuit, and screen. Now, the damage and toughness should explain it just fine, even the icons. So one is attack, the other is defense against that attack. Then you have pursuit. Pursuit essentially means, as it says right here, a victorious army increases the amount of casualties they inflict in the aftermath of a battle by their army's combined pursuit value, converting routed casualties into fatal casualties. Essentially, even once you defeat an army, that is not yet exactly yet the end of a battle. You still fight them for a little while because you're pursuing them to try and kill as many of the leftover, or rather as many of the routing units as you can. And then we have screen, which is essentially defense against the pursuit, so to speak. The larger the screening value, the more units are going to survive. A defeated army reduces the amount of casualties they take in the aftermath of a battle by their army's combined screen value. So essentially, you know, defense negates attack, screen negates pursuit. There you go. Each of these unit types, of course, like, I don't know why it says light footmen, it should just say skirmishers, just like it says here. It literally is the type skirmishers. Everything else, I believe, okay, so bowmen are archers, light horsemen are light cavalry, pikemen are spearmen, and armored footmen are heavy infantry. So, I don't know, I would much prefer if it simply said skirmishers. Makes much more sense considering they are good against heavy infantry and whatnot, and, like, how would light footmen be good against heavy infantry? You know, that's something that confused me at first, and then I saw, yeah, okay, type skirmishers, of course, they're gonna be, you know, just kind of skirmishing with the heavy infantry, just kind of nagging them, etc. But yeah, each unit type also has terrain effects. So the light footmen are very good in forests, they're good in taiga, they're good in jungle. All of these things are calculated within the actual battle as well. Veteran skirmishers are invulnerable harriers, disrupting enemy flanks and chipping away at morale. Now, as you can see right here, just like I said, just like in CK2, regiments, like creation of regiments as well as the maintenance of regiments is all done through prestige. So we are certainly going to have to somehow figure out how to increase our prestige gain as well. So light footmen, bowmen, good in hills, forests, taiga, they negate skirmishers. Light horsemen negates archers, and they're only good really in plains and drylands, something that we don't have much of in Scandinavia, so we certainly will not be making any of them. Though, of course, being the most expensive units, their damage and everything is amazing. Should you fight in the right locations, such as, for instance, if we went to fight in England, it has plenty of plains. The light horsemen would certainly be a welcome addition to our army if we were to go there, because they have negative values in hills, in mountains, in desert mountains, in wetlands, all of which we have here aplenty. Actually, wetlands as well, if I'm not mistaken, there are quite a few of them in Ireland as well, and probably in England as well, but at least they have plains, hey. Full maintenance, unraised maintenance. So unlike footmen or archers, actually archers do have an unraised maintenance as well. Interesting. Pikemen, of course, spearmen, good against any sort of cavalry, good in hills, mountains, and desert mountains, so certainly good in Scandinavia. Might actually be useful. Forest, taiga, jungle, light footmen. Should we go for pikemen instead? I wonder. Armored footmen, they're good against spearmen. Are they actually more expensive? They are actually more expensive than light horsemen. Interesting. Even though, of course, they have 0 pursuit and 0 screen. So basically, they're too slow to pursuit, and they are way too slow to escape the enemy. Oh, that's fun. Alrighty, council. If we check the council, there are 6 council members. The Godi, aka the counselor, or chaplain, the chancellor being, well, the chancellor just like in CK3, then the steward, marshal, and spy master, all very, very familiar to CK2 players. The Godi, so the shaman or priest essentially does the following. So religious relations, we can increase our piety gain, which is essentially what we're doing right now. If we wait just to check, there we go. Vengeful, religious relations. Actually, it doesn't really say that he's producing any of that for us, huh? Piety. Additional piety. Why doesn't it say... So one... All of these... That's 2, that's 3 together, and then 6% of 3 is 0.18, which is how you get the 318. So where does the plus 0.05 come in? Will be assigned to religious relations. Interesting. A Satra theocratic ruler's opinion plus 5 increases by 0.20 per month up to 5. Increase possible side effects, increases vassal opinion or loss of piety or loss of vassal opinion. Interesting. But yeah, here, unlike in CK2, I believe, if I remember correctly, in CK2, your chancellor, your chancellor was actually the one that fabricated claims. In CK3, it's the priest's job to do that. To basically lie about the documents they find, which I find very amusing. The chancellor then has foreign affairs, essentially increasing the opinion of other rulers around the place, and domestic affairs, direct vassal opinions. Steward, well, if we had one, we would see, I believe, can I actually just reassign? You won't mind, just so that I can actually show this off. So yeah, just like in CK2, you either collect taxes or increase development in country, which is essentially in CK2, the equivalent would probably be just to oversee construction or stuff like that. But here, development in the county also increases. Yeah, development by 1. Just not sure how. Development growth, there we go. 0.14. Sorry, 1.4. So we are going to move him straight back to the chancellor position. Marshal. God, we have such bad dudes. This is not going to be a fun beginning. Okay, so our marshal. He can organize levies, essentially increasing the levy and garrison sizes that we can have. He can train commanders if we had more. We basically only have 3. I think the commanders are essentially the knights / champions, etc. Chance of improving or finding a new commander or knight each month. Interesting. So he could actually find more. Okay, that's pretty good, but we are definitely leaving them on organized levies for now. And Spy Master, definitely not good that we're not getting along with her. We'll have to change that. Disrupt schemes, so hostile scheme resistance. Basically, they find schemes, or rather not find them, but yeah, prevent them from firing too soon or too easily. Decreases the chance of the schemes being successful and whatnot. Support schemes, so if we wanted to, you know, do some scheming of our own, she can then jump in and help us with that as well. And find secrets. In CK3, we essentially have the equivalent of, how should we say it, favors in CK2 in the form of hooks. If we find a secret of somebody, we can either put that secret out there so that everybody knows about them. This would possibly destroy the face, or rather the renown of the person whose secret we found out. Or we could keep it to ourselves, but let the person know that we know their secret and get a hook for that secret. Hooks you can then use in multiple fashions. For one thing, you can possibly make them pay, like, you know, to keep your silence, so to speak. You can use a hook to make them vote your way, etc., etc., etc. Perhaps convert or something, stuff like that. So that is currently the council. Oh, and before we forget, of course, the chiefess, our wife. As you can see right here, we actually have a choice of what she would help us with. Currently, Chiefess Alfrid of Rogaland is... Alfrid? I think that's the name. She is currently assisting us, which is basically exactly what a normal spouse does in CK2 as well. She just gives a certain percentage of her own values to you, or rather to the state. State values, such as court politics, that's diplomacy, marshal, steward, spy master, or rather intrigue, and of course learning. Apart from assisting ruler, as you can see right here, because her values are not that high, she's basically only given us 1 point in each thing. But if we wanted to have her specifically help us with one thing, for instance, as we see right here, she's pretty good with learning, she's good with managing domain, aka stewardship, and she's also good at court politics, diplomacy. That is one thing that I believe we are actually quite lacking. For now, and we can actually swap this as many times as we want. So basically, if we wanted to increase our diplomacy right now to have people hate us less, personal diplomacy, as you can see right there, is -3. I think this would actually help us with that. Let's actually check. Yeah, personal diplomacy, there we go. It's -1 now only. God, everybody's upset at us because we still have a very short reign. I mean, we're 27, I'm not sure when we supposedly took over from our father, but once we get to two holdings out of 2 holdings, we could potentially have her help us with our stewardship, which should hopefully increase the allowed holdings to 3. We'll see about that. So that is as far as the council goes. Then we have the court. In the court, like in CK2, you could essentially just invite anybody to your court, you know, or you could possibly, what were the options? Introduce a debutant, invite a commander, invite a holy man, etc., and you could just, you know, spawn as many random characters in your court as possible. Well, here it works a little bit differently. Granted, we did send out a herald to invite champions to come to our court, so that is one close-up to that situation. But in CK3, you essentially have characters that travel all over the place. You know, I don't know, maybe somebody wanted to get recruited, or rather offer their services to the Duchy of Viking, but they were not recruited, and then they started, you know, roaming around, and eventually they perhaps found their way to our court. And then we, just like with Sigrid over here, we can potentially recruit them to our court. But you have to pay in order to recruit them. It's not just, you know, hey, come to my court. You actually have to pay a little bit for them. Like, if we wanted Sigrid to join, we would have to pay 3 gold pieces for her to join. Now, what is she good in? She's good in diplomacy, she's good in intrigue, but Girid is essentially just as good in intrigue, and I believe intrigue is the only thing you can actually put a woman on. At least in the Norse culture. I'm just a little bit confused considering how many courtiers and whatnot we have, but all right, most of them are women and kids, and all of these, so the guys that are not women and kids already have positions. I was gonna say, how do I have such a gigantic court of people, but none of them can be my, you know, actual counselors. as such, we have no steward. As such, our monthly income is certainly not as good as it should be. We can and possibly should also search for a court physician, but if we want a good physician from experience, if I remember correctly, if you want even like a moderately good court physician, you're gonna have to pay like 50 gold. So we can't really do that, and I'm pretty sure you can only search for a position every 12 months. So let's just not do this right now, because we're not gonna be getting 50 gold in that time. Did I forget to mention anything about the army? Levies are levies, regiments are regiments, and then we have champions. Champions are essentially like commanders in CK2. That's why it even says trained commanders on the martial page. Champions fight with their prowess. So the higher the prowess skill, the more damage they do, the tougher they are. And I've seen some ridiculous battles where if you have a few champions, like if we had 5 champions, all with prowess of 10 or above, which is definitely the goal to have, or even some champions with, like, I've seen champions with 28 prowess, for instance. And if you look at the details of a battle after you win a battle, you can actually see just how much damage these guys do. It is ridiculous how strong these guys are. So they are certainly a very, very important part of your army. We're a mastermind philosopher. No wonder our learning's so good. Did it actually say that we were a mastermind philosopher when we picked him? I can't recall. But hey, piety is good, like I said, because that will enable us to go to war. We can, of course, have mercenaries. Now, unlike in CK2, again, yes, I will continue to just compare the two, so that you understand the changes between them as well. Unlike in CK2, where you basically paid up front for a mercenary company, and then you actually had to keep the mercenary company up. You had to pay their upkeep and whatnot. Here, it works a little bit different. You basically pay the mercenary company up front, and then they serve you for a set amount of time. Now, I'm not too sure where I can actually check how long they serve you. I think it's like 2 or 3 years. Basically, you pay them, for instance, like over here, we'd pay 141 gold, and they're 323 bowmen. Wait, what? Bowmen, Knights, and Levies, right. So 755 units would become available to us for, I believe, like 2 or 3 years or something like that. After that, they despawned. I actually haven't tried out using mercenaries before, so I'm not sure if they just despawn or if they actually offer you if you would like their services for an additional amount of time or anything like that. And holy orders, of course, none of them are yet here. I believe there's actually a decision to create a holy order. We'll actually go through that as well. Raise all armies. Basically, when you want to raise an army, you do have a rally point. Of course, the rally point right now is our only county, but you can move the rally point around wherever you want. Unlike in CK2, where when you say raise the army, basically each and every province, or rather county, sorry, raised up their army, and then you had to, bring them all the way from God knows where to a single point. Here, basically, they all gather on the rally point. They're gonna be gathering for a little while, depending on how far, they're coming from and whatnot, but you're not gonna have, like, the 15 armies in Scandinavia suddenly pop up and then start gathering at one location. No, they're all gonna be gathering in a single location. You'll see what I mean as soon as we actually go into a war, as soon as we actually hopefully increase the amount of our levies. Because if we're gonna go to war with anybody around here, we are certainly not gonna be able to do that with the amount of units we have. So court, we also, of course, can have prisoners. Those prisoners, you can do anything with them, basically. You ransom them, just like in CK2. You can torture them if you want some dread built up, or if you have the specific traits, you even lessen your stress if you kill them, or rather torture them. It's kind of messed up, but yeah. You can release them. If you just release them, you usually get a hook on them as well. You can possibly use that hook to also, like I said, convert them. For instance, if you, go to Ireland or something and raid, and you happen to capture, like, the heir of the current lord or something, and you can release him and then say, hey, but I want you to be converted to a Satru. you know, you're kind of seeding the the Norse religion in other locations. So I found that very, very interesting. Next, if we go to Intrigue, you have different schemes. You have hostile schemes, which is essentially if you want to murder, abduct, claim thrones, fabricate hooks, etc., etc. Personal schemes, those are basically if you want, for instance, to romance somebody, seduce somebody, or if you want to sway someone to see things more your way, which is basically what we will do with our counselors, it's at least in the beginning, just to, you know, sway them to our side a little bit more. And discovered secret schemes, that's basically the secrets that we've already discovered, and we can do things with them. And then you have hooks and secrets. Hooks you hold, none. Secrets known to me, hooks on you, so nobody has any hooks on us either, and our secrets. So if we had any secrets, we would certainly hope that nobody actually gets to find them. Then if we go to factions, factions against us, there are currently no factions against us. Vassals who cannot join factions for whatever reasons. I don't know, if you have a hook on them, if you have if you know their secrets, like you can see right here. So you can prevent a vassal from joining a faction by making them your friend, lover, prisoner, or ally. They will also refrain from joining factions if they are terrified, or if you have a strong hook on them. Now, if they are terrified, are paralyzed by fear of another character, and will not take any hostile actions against that character, including joining or starting factions. Characters are terrified or intimidated by dread, and or a cowardly personality. So dread is one of the things that you can actually have as a character. We currently have 0 dread out of 100. You gain dread by basically choosing in events or any of the decisions, etc., things that, you know, would normally increase dread. Like, if you torture somebody, you're gonna increase dread. If you just kill somebody willy-nilly, you're gonna get some dread, etc. Even though, like, for instance, killing somebody or beheading somebody, I think, is actually welcome in the Norse religion, but you understand what I mean. Basically, the higher the dread, Dreadful Ruler reaps the following benefits. Vassals are discouraged from joining factions. Vassals are discouraged from scheming against you. Increases vassal acceptance. Example, the revocation, aka if you are a very dreadful person, a Dreadful Ruler, your vassals are going to be scared of saying no to you, basically just revoking their title. Increases offer vassalization and acceptance, so basically, you know, you go to a different, to another count, and you say, okay, either you join me, or, you know, bad things are going to happen. And if they know that you're very dreadful and known to be, you know, very ruthless, well, they're much more likely to accept. Makes electors more likely to vote as you do, because they're simply scared of you. Makes vassals unlikely to oppose law changes. So basically, if you have dread, you can do anything. So what's the bad side of it? I'm thinking right now, rulers increase dread by performing cruel and heinous acts, such as torturing and executing prisoners. Dread makes it viable to play as a tyrant, because unruly vassals can become intimidated or terrified, making them too scared to oppose you. A character's dread can range from 0 to 100. Over time, their dread will tend towards their neutral dread, which is defined by their personality traits. So our personality traits, I don't think, really increase any sort of dread or anything. Oh, dread gain is plus 15 because we're vengeful. Hello! So we might actually try going for some dread. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Should we become a tyrant of some sort? I mean, you can't really be a tyrant if you don't have any vassals, so that's not fun. Gold, we are currently, like, all of these can also be found except for dread. So gold, prestige, and piety can all be found on the upper left. Sorry, upper right. And that is pretty much it as far as factions go. And then decisions, major decisions we can do. Found a holy order. We already saw them within the military tab. So if you want to found a holy order of your faith will be founded. Yes, you become the order's patron. What does a patron do? A holy order's patron is a king or emperor who shares their faith and whose realm contains their capital. The patron may call upon the support of the holy order against religious enemies for free instead of paying piety. Not all holy orders have a patron. Oh, okay, so if we basically sponsor a new holy order to be created, you have a barony with a city or castle that can lead. Right, we also would have to, right. We actually have to lease one of our lands to the Holy Order. Like, unlike in Seeking 2, where they did get, like, certain lands and everything, it was a pain to try and actually get those lands away from them. I remember that so much. Like, the Knights of Santiago, or whatever they were called in Spain, they were such a bother when we were the Irish emperor. So yeah, here you basically give them a piece of land. We need to hold a kingdom or an empire, so that's going to be a little while. You have a barony with a city or a castle that can be leased out as the Holy Order's headquarters. There we go. And your level of devotion is Devoted Servant. This is our devotion. We are currently dutiful. Then you have faithful. The next ones are level of sorry, yeah, I have this still set up so that I actually have to wait for everything to get locked in order to see all of the wiki, so to speak. A character's level of devotion is a measure of how virtuous and devout they are, as well as their standing with other members of their faith. Every time a character gains piety, they also progress towards the next level of devotion. The levels are dutiful, faithful, devoted servant. Okay, so that's the third. I mean, it even says that it's the third level right down here. So yeah, we are currently dutiful, so faithful, and then devoted servant. Oh god, that's gonna take a while. Though we are getting +3 per month, so we might actually get to that point. Not that we're gonna have a kingdom or anything by then. It also costs you, you have to select the headquarters, and it also costs you 500 gold, as well as 1,000 piety. Notify when this decision becomes available. Yeah, for sure, notify me. Adopt feudal ways. Changes your government to feudal. All tribal holdings in the realm will become castle holdings. My tribal vassals will change to feudalism. It doesn't even give you a choice. Interesting. Huh. It just says that all of them will become feudal. Because I remember in CK2, when you adopted feudalism, like, your vassals could still choose. Like, no, I want to, you know, continue with being a tribal chief. I don't want your petty feudalism. I don't want you to be my feudal lord, etc., etc. Here, apparently, all of them change. That's good. Requirements, you have the law, absolute tribal authority. There we go. That's certainly something that we have to do, or rather have. Asatru is an organized faith. Oy, we are not an organized faith. That is for sure. The way I know that is because we don't have a faith head. So, okay, we would have to reform. Yeah, unreformed Norse faith. So we would have to reform the Norse faith in order to even get the opportunity to become feudal. Oh god, that's actually going to be a problem. Level of fame is distinguished. We're currently on established, so distinguished is the next level. After 1,000 prestige. Oh good. Oh goody goody. The development level in the chiefdom of is greater or equal to 10 and has all tribal era innovations. Innovations are something we'll go through as well. Basically, yeah, the first episode, sorry guys, is just going through everything that's new, everything. I am gonna on pause for a little bit, definitely. But the first episode, I believe, garners, or rather demands, some explanation of what we're actually going to be playing. So, a quick tutorial, shall we say. So yeah, of course, at this point, we do not yet have, we do not fulfill the requirements to actually adopt the feudal ways. And then restore the Dane law. You gain the nickname, the Dane. You gain Kingdom of the Dane Law. Kingdom of the Dane Law becomes your primary title. Kingdom of the Dane Law will gain Scandinavian elective succession. Kingdom of England is destroyed. There is no such thing anymore. You completely control Jorvik, Lancaster, East Anglia, Essex, and Mercia. Essentially, the entirety of, well, the English lands. Not Scotland, but the English lands. Essex, Mercia, East Anglia, Lancaster, Jorvik. Wait, Lancaster... Isn't that like a... Isn't that in... Oh no, it's right here. My bad. Wait, what is the... Oh, Leinster. That's the Irish one. Sorry, I mixed those two up. Please don't hate me, British viewers. So we'll restore the Dane law, then decisions. We already invited champions. Basically, at least 3 able-bodied men with 12 or more prowess will arrive as guests at court within the coming months. At least 3. So it could be more, it could be exactly 3. And depending on how good they are going to cost a certain amount of gold for us to be able to recruit them. We can go on a pilgrimage, which increases our piety. You have to choose a destination And of course the longer journeys are more expensive, and I believe you also get a bit more piety depending on the length of the journey. But the minimum cost is 100, so of course we cannot go and do that. We could prepare for a journey, but we're definitely gonna go into bankruptcy territory if we do that. Host a feast. You may start a feast in Rogaland, may increase your vassals' opinion of you. You lose 30 stress. Hold a feast will be unavailable for 5 years. We don't have enough gold though, so we cannot do the feast. So if we get too much stress, we could potentially simply hold a feast and that's it. So to quickly explain what stress is. Stress measures a character's mental well-being. Characters gain stress when taking actions that conflict with their personality. This is essentially a way of the game kind of forcing you into role-playing your character a bit better. Like, if you're a compassionate person and you lead a raiding party, there's an event that basically lets you either kill everybody, or rather, I can't remember what exactly it is. Like, you can imprison people, you can burn everything to the ground, or you can essentially say, we've done enough, let's leave. Now, if you're a compassionate person and you decide either of the first two options, you are going to gain stress. If you just leave, it's going to be fine. But there are certain events that essentially, if you have certain traits, being a Viking with compassionate traits, kind traits, you know, stuff like that is definitely not a good thing, because you're just gonna get way too stressed out. And characters who gain enough stress will also gain a stress level, causing various negative effects that persist until they manage to reduce their stress. So stress levels, there are 3. Every 100 stress a character accumulates also causes him to gain stress levels. Stress levels range from 0 to 3, which with each level imposing increasing penalties to a character's fertility and health. In addition, as long as a character has at least 1 stress level, they are vulnerable to mental breaks. And mental breaks essentially give you very, very bad events. When stress overwhelms a character, they will experience a mental break, a personal crisis in which they feel that they must do something to lower their stress, no matter the cost. Characters suffering from a mental break will have several ways that they can deal with the situation, though many of them will have negative consequences. At low stress levels, these consequences are minor and easily managed. As stress level increases, however, so do these consequences, eventually leading to insanity and even death. Basically, sometimes you just can't choose a good one and you will die if you have stress level 3 or something, you know? Call for a hunt. You go on a hunt. Okay, so again, we cannot do it because we don't have the gold for it. You go on a hunt in one of the baronies of your realm, so just the one we have. You also lose 35% stress because you are diligent. Oh, so that's additional. Awesome. You may get opportunities to increase your prestige as well. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good to know. And search for a physician, something we did say, or rather I did say, that we're not going to do just yet, because if you want a good one, or at least a moderately good one, you have to have at least 50 gold, which we currently do not have. Alright, that's as far as the right side tabs go. Lifestyle, something that even the game is basically telling us to do, so no chosen lifestyle. Now, because we are educated in the ways of learning, so we are a mastermind philosopher, because of that, we gain bonuses if we go into the learning lifestyle. Focus on learning all that you can. The realm of knowledge and divinity lie within your grasp, as well as the secrets to life itself. Because of your learning education, you gain 40% more experience in this lifestyle. So if we go over here, learning experience 35 per month. If we go back to, if we go to Intrigue, we only get 25 per month, for instance. How do I go back over here? Is there any way to... Oh, right, we can actually choose from above here. Sorry about that. And we already have a few, apparently, in the Scholar tab. Yeah. I forgot what the column... There we go. The column. So let's see. If we become a scholar, you need to select a focus. Yeah, but what does a scholar do? Learning +5, hostile schemes success chance +10, personal schemes success +10, development growth +15%. Doesn't sound very useful as a Viking, does it? Pedagogy. Your wards can get additional skills and can become your friends. Okay, scientific. Cultural fascination progress, plus 35%. Now, that would be useful if we were the head of the culture, which we are not, because we are not the strongest member of our culture. That, I believe, would be the Jarl of Upland. Okay, scientific, go away. Plant cultivation increases development of county efficiency plus 20%. Scholarly circles, learning per level of devotion plus 2. Huh, okay, so we're gonna be getting smarter and smarter even as we go, but what about whole of body? What does this do? Fertility plus 20%, health bonus, health medium boost, okay, stress gain negative 20%, so that would essentially negate our diligent trait stress gain. Okay, and theologian, what does that do? Learning plus 3 and monthly piety plus 20%. None of these really interest me, except for maybe whole of body so that we would live longer, because, you know, health medium boost, that's pretty good. What other things did we get? Anatomical studies. Cost less to... Okay, so court physician cost less to hire. Court physician treatments have better outcomes, alright. Carefree, stress gain, negative 20. You can take the embrace celibacy and abandon celibacy decisions. Oh, okay. So we can either become celibate, but once we decide, no, actually I do want kids, we can just abandon celibacy. Okay. Reduced chance of contracting illness. Oh, that's pretty good. Reduced chance for courtiers to contract illness as well. Oh, okay, that's pretty good, actually. Mental resilience. Time between mental breaks plus 3 years. Alright. Otherwise, it's, I believe, on a yearly basis. So when death of natural causes is 1 year away, you will receive a warding. Oh, okay, so that's actually pretty good. Though, of course, things can come in between. I'm pretty sure, like, the game isn't going to calculate, okay, so I'm going to give you an illness in a year that's going to kill you or something like that, you know? So if we're going to die just by old age or something, I think that's what this does. So basically, if we're going to die of old age, if we're already old, the game's going to tell us 1 year before we die, hey, in a year, you're kind of gonna kick the bucket, you know? But I'm pretty sure this does not take into account us going into battles, illnesses, etc., or even mental breaks causing our deaths. Iron constitution, disease resistance plus 30, so fertility also plus 30. Health disease resistance, so health, massive boost. Healthy, health medium boost. Whole of body, you get the trait whole of body. Fertility plus 20, medium boost. I mean, maybe we go for whole of body and then go into either martial or stewardship, because martial, that's something I'm even thinking about going at it right now. Because, like, if we go into strategy focus and we manage to get into, like, I would only go into gallant so that we could get the Kingsguard. So basically, you just go 1, 2, 3, 4. I just want 4 martial perks to get to Kingsguard. Why? So that we get the additional 4 knights. Because that is... Knights, like I said, are beasts in this game. And it would definitely be good for us to have them, especially as small as we are currently. So, and not to mention that if we do have additional martial, that's going to increase our levies further. So let's just go for strategy focus, select, done. We can select another focus until... Are you going to tell me until when? Focus. Must be chosen selecting the lifestyle focuses. Characters can switch between focuses within the same lifestyle without losing the ability to gain experience in that lifestyle. Okay, but it doesn't say how often we can actually choose. Huh. And even if I try to click it, it's not really telling me. Martial, authority focus. Interesting. Okay. Oh, wait, what was that? I didn't see that before. Lifestyle. Reset perks. All of your unlocked perks are refunded. And you gain 120 stress, which is critical. This can only be done once in a lifetime. Oh, okay, so this is basically a reset button on life. For instance, if we suddenly, like, if we went into full learning, and then just decided, no, I want to use all those points somewhere else. We can actually do that. Interesting. Everything is refunded. No, wait, though I'm pretty sure this would not go, like, the perks would not go, like, from learning to martial. It would probably be just, like, the case of, if we have scholar, like, if we continue the scholar column down to the scholar perk, and we decided to, okay, let's reset the perks and just move all of the perks from the scholar column to the whole of body one. Probably works like that. Next we have the stress level. Currently we are at 0 of 3 with 0 stress, which is, thank God, good. House Rogaland, so this is our house. We can see which is our dynasty. The dynasty head is currently us, otherwise it tells you who it is. Splendor is basically how well known our actual dynasty is. Not our own, so not the prestige that we have right now. Like, as you can see, we are currently, like, established. We're not even, like, our actual dynasty is currently completely obscure. Then you have insignificant, then you have noteworthy, noteworthy, come on, reputable, well-known, significant, famous, glorious, good God, how far does it actually go? Fabled, legendary. Okay, legendary is the maximum. Children are born with 1,000 prestige automatically. Right now, since we're obscure, they're born with 100 prestige. Okay, rulers get a maximum of +10 long reign opinion. Oh, okay. Open Dynasty tree, we currently, it's just us and our 2 daughters. Apparently the game did not decide to give us a single son. Okay, so we're gonna have to strive for that. 3 living members, which is basically us and our 2 daughters. Legacies! What does it actually cost? I think it costs... Yeah, it costs renown. So once you get a certain amount of renown, right now we only have 40, which is why we're obscure. Once you get to, like, 1,000 renown, you can actually use that renown to, shall we say, buy a legacy, a dynasty legacy for our dynasty. Essentially, those legacies then stay with our dynasty, like, forever. Any ruler of our dynasty, is going to get these bonuses. For instance, a House of Warrior. Automatically, every single person of our dynasty will have +2 prowess, +15 knight effectiveness. Where's the... I think there's actually one... Domain limit, that's pretty good, usually. I would certainly go for that one. Monthly lifestyle, monthly tyranny. Resilient bloodline. Life expectancy +5, so... yeah, live longer. Like, every single member of your clan... dynasty lives longer. Ordinate rulership. Monthly learning, lifestyle experience. Clergy opinion. Undesirable... What? Match. Oh, marriage acceptance +30. More prestige. I'm trying to look for... I think... No, I guess I was wrong, huh? House of Warriors, I think, was the one that I had in mind. I thought for a moment that it would give us, like, additional knights, but it doesn't really. Private Army. Max number of men-at-arms regiments +1. You can recruit House Guard as men-at-arms. Ooh. Type Heavy Infantry. House Guard counters these type spearmen. So, so what's different from the Armored Footmen? Interesting. Okay, so those are the legacies. Next we have the Asatru Faith. So these are the tenets, and then the virtues / sins and the doctrines. I believe, if I understood correctly, if you change doctrines, which is something you certainly can do, you can actually create a new subunit of the, for instance, Asatru Faith. But then you're seen as basically a kind of a heretic by the other Asatrus. For instance, like, if I remember correctly, Catholic, there we go, Insular. Like, Insular, that's still Catholic. Sorry, not Catholic, Christian. It's an organized Christian faith. But it is a subunit of Catholicism. Or rather, of Christianity. So it's not Catholic, it's Insular, and that's why the Catholics are actually, I believe, hostile to the Insular rulers. Asatru, what do we have? As tenants, but when you reform, like actually reform the faith once you, control the holy sites, etc., and can actually reform the faith. You can also change the tenants. So tenants, let's see. Ancestor worship. Prestige from level of splendor for newborns, plus 100%. Prestige from level of splendor when getting married. Maximum long reign opinion bonus. Characters of this fate gain an additional bonus upon the successful completion of a pilgrimage. Okay. Human sacrifice. Executions can earn piety instead of costing piety. There we go. Grants the raid for captives Cash's belly against neighboring realms. Warmonger at peace opinion instead of offensive war opinion. Yeah, that's actually a very fun one. Like, if we're gonna check our current piece of land, let's head back to realms. Click on it. Click on the actual piece of land. Like, the popular opinion right now is actually, it's not doing that yet, but I believe that if we are at peace for too long, it's actually gonna go into the negative, because our people are gonna hate the fact that we have been at peace for as long as we've been. So yeah, if you change doctrines like male-dominated, pluralist, county conversion speed, counties of other faiths are less likely to join factions, reduce danger from heresies when at low fervor, etc., theocratic, temple holdings are leased out to their holders, realm priest, who then serve them as theocratic vassals. You can just juggle everything here, like, what sort of marriages, like, what is accepted? Are concubines accepted? Are they not? Is it monotheist, wait, what are they called? Monotheism? Polytheism? Sorry, faith, Catholic. Yeah, monogamous, not monotheism, what? Monogamous, polygamous, etc., We basically have consorts and concubines, up to 3 of them. Divorce, always allowed. Of course, the Catholics, they cannot divorce unless the Pope actually allows it. Bastardry, we can legitimize them. We can marry our cousins. Crime doctrine, so basically what is criminal, what is not. Male adultery is criminal, deviancy is criminal, female adultery is criminal, witchcraft is criminal, interestingly enough. Close kin, killing close kin is criminal, but not far kin, it seems. Same-sex relations is criminal. Clergy doctrines, clerical function, recruitment, which means that basically we can recruit. No, wait. Members of the clergy can serve as commanders. Oh, okay. Clerical gender is either. Clerical marriage is allowed. Appointment. There we go. That one. Temporal or revocable. Rulers appoint their own realm priest or court chaplains. In certain cultures or other faiths, and I'm not sure if insular and Catholics are one of those. Wait, I can actually check. Spiritual for life. There you go. The head of the faith of clergy appoints all realm priests or court chaplains. So basically the Pope decides who is the court chaplain. So while we can actually switch the Godi, the Catholics cannot switch their priests. So that's pretty interesting. And there we go. Norse, I think this is the last part before we actually unpause the game for like a minute or two. Norse culture, your culture part of the North Germanic group? Yes. We currently have 7 out of 19 tribal innovations. Now these innovations go into 4 stages. They are tribal, early medieval, high medieval, or late medieval. Each of them has, of course, certain innovations. For instance, tribal, what do we currently have? We currently have the ability to build mustering grounds, size of men-at-arms regiments, +2. Max number of men-at-arms regiments, +1. Oh, okay, so it's not actually a building that we have, it's the innovation. Barracks, also a building. Unlocks all tribal-era military buildings. It's pretty good. Quilted armor can recruit armored footmen as men-at-arms. What is this? Currency development growth +10. Okay, Gavelkind. So we can... Wait, can enact the Confederate Partition Law. Oh, okay, so that's basically the... No, not the Norse version of Gavelkind, but just Gavelkind in general. So we can do that. Plenary Assemblies. Can build fortified tribal hold. Can enact the limited crown authority. Long ships, of course, that's something we as the Norse definitely have. Unlocks the ability to raid overseas if you can already raid. Unlocks the ability to sail in major rivers. Embarkation cost is negative 75%, so even with our armies, just to explain this real quick, if you raise an army, as for instance a feudal Catholic lord from Wessex, if you have an army of 500 units and you wish to embark them, you don't need ships in this game. Unlike in CK2 where you needed transports and galleys and whatnot, in CK3 you do not need ships. You basically just click on the army, right-click on the sea tile that you wish for them to embark upon, and you're actually going to be shown the cost for the embarkation or embargo. No, basically for them to get onto the ships. And it costs you 1 gold per 100 units. So as the Norse, anybody of the Norse culture, due to the longships innovation, the embarkation cost is minus 75%. So instead, like, if we had a 1,000 unit army, we would only have to pay like 2.5 gold for the embarkation, not 10 gold. And naval speed is plus 25%. Okay. And we are currently, so there we go. The culture head is currently Jarl Bjorn Ironside of Upland, like I said. Good God, I think I'm losing my voice right now. I've been talking for more than an hour straight. The ruler of this culture that has the most Norse counties in their realm, so he currently has 12 counties. Good God. You have 1 Norse county in your realm, so yeah. He is actually the one that gets to decide what our current quote-unquote fascination is. So our current fascination is the onager. So, I don't know, we're apparently thinking about going and sieging castles and whatnot with onagers. Current cultural fascination. The cultural head is fascinated by this innovation, boosting its progress. The cultural head can at any time choose to be fascinated by another innovation. We would be able to recruit onagers as men-at-arms, expected to be discovered in about 78 years. Progress is at 0. There is a 31% chance to gain 0.34 progress each month. Base progress is 0.3. Average development of Norse counties is very, very, very low. Base chance 5%, and fascination, because he's fascinated by it, it's an additional 25. I mean, his learning is currently at 3, so I'm pretty sure we would be able to discover this much faster if, for instance, we were the cultural head, since we do have 14 learning, so it might actually go faster that way. Not too sure. So yeah, essentially, if I understood correctly, we need all of the tribal innovations in order for us to become feudal. Now, of course, we are currently fascinated by onagers, but that does not mean that we are not slowly but surely also discovering the other things, like mots. As it says right here, we're expected to be discovered in about 483 years, you know, but it can happen. We can do it if, for instance, like we increase, I don't know, development in Norse counties, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it also does the same as in CK2, so if you're adjacent to a to a culture or to a land that has those innovations already discovered and whatnot, I believe it also increases the rate at which you discover it as well. So an empty council position, yeah, I know, but we can't really do anything about it. And over here, issues. This is an amazing thing. I love it. Like, even if you happen to forget about something, you can just click here, and it's actually going to tell you exactly what you should probably be doing. Like, it's suggesting that we should recruit some men-at-arms, which is definitely something that we will be doing, because we do have 300 prestige still. You can designate a guardian for our child. What are you looking like? Diplomacy, martial, stewardship, intrigue. You look like you would be a good steward or an intrigue person, so let's see. Who's the highest? Girid. Okay, would you like... And she's also my spy master, so if we give her... There we go. You look after my daughter, and you should now like me a little bit more, right? Does not say she does, even though... Wait, Girid gained up to 15 opinion of her. What about of me? Huh. So she doesn't get an opinion boost with us, since we gave her our daughter as a ward, but she will get a relation with our daughter. Interesting. Not endorsed by your Godi. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, because we do not currently have temple holdings, our Godi does not have any land, he does not have any levies, he does not have any taxes, so none of those things matter. But if we had some temples, or, you know, if you're, for instance, Catholic, and the priest does not approve of you, or rather not endorse you, he is going to be paying all of the levies, all of the taxes, and he's not going to be giving you any levies or anything like that. He's going to be paying all of the taxes to the Pope. But unlike in CK2, where you were basically kind of, in a competition with the Pope, or rather trying to have a better relation with your chaplains and priests and everything than they have with the Pope, over here it doesn't matter what the Godis or the chaplains or anybody's relation is with the Pope, as long as your relation with them is at a positive. So as long as it's at 1, not -1, but as long as it's at 1, the Godi, the priest, the chaplain, the shaman, whatever you want to call them, whatever they are in your religion, then endorses you and automatically pays you taxes, gives you levies. Though I do think that the higher your relation with them, the more you get, but I'm not too sure about that one. Don't quote me on that one. And yeah, we do have few champions. We only have, like we said earlier, 3 out of 5, though we did send out invitations. I'm a little bit sad that our court is as small as it is, but I'm hoping it does increase. So yeah, as the game suggests, we are going to be creating some men-at-arms. I'm thinking light footmen, and maybe a regiment of bowmen as well. So light footmen, let's create a light footman regiment. I said create. I can't create. I can. There we go. And also a bowman. There. So although we can only have 3 men-at-arms regiment, as you can see right here, it's a size 1 out of 5. So we can actually, you might be thinking, but why, if we wanted to create an additional light footman retinue, for instance, that would already fill up our men-at-arms retinue slots. So, there's not much specialization, there's not much chance of you getting all of these guys into the single army, etc., etc. But worry not, because you can actually increase, instead of creating another regiment, you can actually simply just increase the size of this one. Which is what I'm thinking about doing right now, actually. Just increase the footmen to 200. Though we are already losing prestige, simply due to the fact that we are currently, reinforcing the regiments. Let's not do that just yet. Just yet. What is the maximum soldiers we can have? 518. With levies already counted in. Ooh. Okay, let's play. What else can we do? Take concubine, we don't need that. Okay. One thing that I am gonna do is actually sway. So swaying is one of the, positive, or rather personal, sorry, not positive, personal schemes. And let's see, if we click sway, we have a 89% chance of predicted success, and it's gonna take us about 17 months based on predicted chance to progress of 56. So the higher the predicted success, if scheme is successful, there we go. So that's the possible success. And let's see this. Expected time to complete scheme. Every month there is a predicted chance of 56 to progress based on scheme power versus scheme resistance. Okay. But it's gonna take about 17 months for the sway scheme to finish. But there's still, of course, an 11% chance that even after 17 months, it's gonna say that we failed. And we're not gonna do anything. But if we do succeed, if it actually works, as RNG hopefully should, and I know there's like an 11% chance, that's still high, but 89% chance that we do gain a 25 relation with her. Which is definitely a good thing, considering she is our spy master, and I would like to be on good relations with our spy master. One thing that we definitely want to do is check if we can possibly marry our daughter. Find spouse. Let's toggle filters and say anybody that we can have an alliance with. Let's see. Potential alliance, Chiefdom of Lofoter. Where is this? All the way up there. How many units do you have? 625. Okay, those might come in handy. What else is possible? Chiefdom of Auster-Auguir. I think that's literally the one right next to us. That's it, yeah. Chiefdom of Lubeck. So we can become an ally of this guy. Basically have him help us possibly fight towards the north. Lupska, Sogn. No really strong possible allies, huh? I suppose it's gonna be the same thing for her. Yes. Yes, it is. We also have claims. So you have 625. You have 715. Maybe we do marry our elder daughter to him. Spouse. There. Would you accept? He will accept. Okay, so that's a possible alliance with him, and hopefully if we ally together with him and gather up enough units, we will be able to declare war on this dude that has 377 units. So if he doesn't start recruiting some men-at-arms himself, we should even be able to beat him up ourselves. But it's a good thing to have an ally helping us out. Let's see, he has... Oh, there we go, an alliance is formed. Excellent. We're gonna wait a couple of months. Hida the Seven has arrived at court as our guest. Okay, so let's see you. There we go, 22 prowess. This is good. How much to recruit you? 7. It's on the upper end, but I'll take you. So now we have a 4th champion, even though it says 3. There we go, 4. Excellent. And can I possibly also just put you on our council? Yes, I can. Assign. There we go. Okay, now we have a steward. Now we have a steward. But we should probably also look for a better marshal to increase the size of our levies further as well. Are you... Yep, he has a unit of bowmen. What's strong against bowmen? They're strong against skirmishers. Okay, so our footmen are going to be negated by them. We'll see. We'll see what happened. Champion has arrived. So yeah, we do get pop-ups over there. Let's increase the speed to 4. Just to get the levies up a little bit faster. Yeah, come on. Before you manage to get any alliances of your own, we can conquer. They are inferior, but that's only if this guy actually accepts and joins us. So I guess that's where we'll start the next episode, guys, with a lovely, lovely war to begin our conquest of Scandinavia. Hopefully you guys don't mind the first episode. Essentially, this is a completely new game, and me explaining a couple of things, like, to anybody that's new to the game, to anybody that's new to the channel. In the next episode, I promise, we're definitely gonna play more than just 3 months. But that's for the next episode, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. I have been Kaiser. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, ad gloriam.